What is up, ProGuides family? My name is Renox, and I hope you're doing great because today I'll be bringing you another comprehensive guide on all the do's and don'ts of buying in CSGO. Buying in CSGO can be difficult sometimes. It can be hard to tell when you should buy and how much you should invest in each round. And once you do finally know, your teammates have decided to do something else entirely. So today, we are going to be helping you so that you know what to buy in each situation. Before we get into it though, you already know what we gotta do beforehand. It's time, of course, for our question of the day. Today's question being, what is your favorite SMG? For me personally, it's gotta be the MP9. The MP9 is just so fun to play around with, and its insane fire rate and low time to kill. In the right hands, it can almost be just as effective as an M4, especially when used in close range. But what do you think? What's your favorite SMG? Be sure to let us know down in the comments below. Regardless, let's start off by talking about how the economy works in Counter-Strike. If you win a round, you'll either get $3,250 if you kill all the opponents in the round, or instead you'll get $3,500 if your team completes the objective. You can complete the objective by either letting the bomb explode if you're attacking, or defusing it if you're defending. Additionally, if the Ts let the timer run out, the CTs are also awarded $3,250. If you lose a round, you get $1,400 the first time, and then another $500 if you lose again, all the way up to $3,400 if you've lost 5 or more rounds in a row. If you win a round, your lost bonus streak goes one tier lower. So if you lose 5 rounds in a row, then win, then lose again, you'd receive a tier 4 $2,900 loss bonus. If you're on the terrorist team and get the bomb down, each player will get an extra $800 as long as you lose the round. If you kill someone with a rifle, defuse, or plant a bomb, you will get $300. If you instead kill someone with an SMG that isn't the P90, you'll get $600 per kill, with a shotgun that would be $900, and with the op only $100 per kill. Now, we've got to start talking about the terminology so that everyone knows exactly what I mean when I'm talking about the different buys in CSGO. Starting with the full buy. A full buy is when you and your teammates can all buy AKs and M4s, a Kevlar vest with preferably a helmet and some utility. Some players might even be able to buy an op, and your chances of winning these rounds are generally quite high. In CSGO, you want to make sure you have as many rounds where you can full buy as possible, because you really don't want to rely on winning with a disadvantageous buy. The second buy that you can have is called a force buy. A force buy is when you can't afford everything you might want, but still decide to buy everything that you can. For example, if the score is 14-15 and you just lost a round, you might not have enough to get rifles out. Some players might even have to use pistols, but still, you try to win the round by investing all you've got. When you force buy, your buy is usually much worse than your opponent's, and therefore so are your chances of winning that round, so you should only do it situationally. Another buy you can have is a full eco. A full eco is probably the simplest buy. It's when you decide not to buy at all and instead save money for the next round when you can full buy then. When doing a full eco round, your chances of winning are almost next to nothing, so it is best to just try something chaotic. The last buy you can have is called a half buy. A half buy is when you have more than enough money to buy the next round, but not enough money to buy in the current round, so you want to save your money still. During a half buy, you usually only buy a pistol of some sort in order to have a better chance at winning the current round, while also not giving up your good buy in the following round. The rules when half buying are a bit vague, but always remember that you want to have enough money to full buy the round after. Whew, now that those terms are out of the way, we can start with how to approach the first few rounds of each half, starting with the pistol round. In the pistol round, you only have $800 available to each player. If you're on the CT side, you'll usually want at least one player with a smoke and defuse kit, and the rest of the players can buy Kevlar vests. The reason you go for Kevlar vest instead of upgrading your pistol during the pistol round is that the USP and P2000 can already one-shot players with a headshot, so there's no real advantage to upgrading to, let's say, a 5.7, unless you really just want to body shot everyone. But this only works against low-level opponents. So all you need is one person with a defuse kit, a smoke, and the rest buy Kevlar? That sounds really easy. Well, actually, it's a bit more complicated than that. If you and your teammates want to do a play of some sort, maybe you guys want to push somewhere early round or maybe even stack towards one side of the map, then it is usually worth it to have one or multiple players sacrificing their Kevlar for utility. So make sure you don't instantly purchase your Kevlar at the beginning of the buy phase, but instead coordinate what you want to do with your teammates. So if we flip it around and go to the T side, the approach changes quite a bit. Of course, you'll still want to coordinate with your team, but there's not really a lot of rules for what you can and can't do buying wise. The Glock, for one, is a lot weaker than the CT starting pistols, so you often see confident players upgrading their P250 or getting dropped a P250. Having a P250 on T-side pistol round allows you to level the playing field and one-shot headshot CT players at long ranges. Whenever you buy a P250, you can also buy a smoke and a flash as an added bonus. You could then use this utility to help take a site or an area of the map. In general, it is very advisable to have at least one player with some utility on the T-side pistol round, but it is not a necessity. It really just depends on what strategy you guys come up with and how much utility you are going to need for it. So, to summarize, the pistol round do's are: do buy at least one kit and smoke on CT side, do coordinate your buy with your team, and do buy a P250 on T side with some utility. And the don'ts: don't buy an upgraded pistol on CT side, and don't buy a Kevlar vest instantly as soon as the round starts. So, after you hopefully won your pistol round, now comes the anti-eco round. Here, you'll want to buy the best weapons you can, because if you can only buy SMGs the third round, it will be very difficult. That being said, if you do decide to buy an AK or M4, make sure you're playing super careful, because if you give it away to your enemies, they suddenly have a really good chance at winning a before seemingly unwinnable round. If you don't have a rifle, but instead an SMG, make sure you're not playing over aggressive either. Sure, it's fun getting those easy eco frags, but if it goes wrong and you lose a gun and a man advantage, it will be a lot less fun. That I can guarantee. Unfortunately, you can't always win the pistol round, so if you're on the losing side, you have to decide whether you want to buy or not. Usually, you'll just want a full eco in order to be able to win the third round, but there are some exceptions. If you're defending on a map where pistols are strong and utility is important, it can be worth it to force buy into the second round. After all, since pistols are so strong, you have a good chance of winning it, and since utility is so important, it will be hard to win the third round even if you do eco. Another time it can be really worthwhile to force buy is when you lost the pistol as T's, but you did get the bomb plant. Quite a few people will be hovering around the $2,700 mark, so at least 2 players can drop teammates an AK-47, and you might even have a better buy than the CTs. Sure, those 2 players that dropped will only have an upgraded pistol without even Kevlar, but having an AK in the second round against mostly SMGs is of course super powerful. To sum it all up, if you won the pistol round, you're in a good position. As long as you convert the second round as well, you'll be up 2-0 with a head start in the economy. If you lost the pistol round, you'll usually just have to eco, but there are some exceptions, especially if you got the plant. For the do's and don'ts, do force buy second round if you think you have a good chance at winning it. Don't push for eco frags. Moving away from the early rounds, let's start talking about when to full buy. The question of when to full buy is quite easy to answer. You should full buy whenever you can. If you have 5 rifles with a good amount of utility on you, it's almost always worth it to go for it. Sometimes you might feel that you want to save even more to get some extra ops in the picture, but most of the time it's not worthwhile saving another round for that. If you already have a really good chance to win with 5 rifles, and if you really needed that op, you should have saved more money in the last eco round. For do's, do full buy whenever you can afford 5 rifles with some utility. And for the don'ts, don't eco or half buy to save for an op if you can already pull out 5 rifles. So what if we can't full buy? Should we just force buy? Well, maybe, but probably no. The question of when to force buy is a bit more difficult than when to full buy, so let's get our teeth into it. You should only ever force buy if you think that you have a really good and realistic chance at winning the round. If you can't buy the next round regardless, and if it's the last round in the half or the game anyways, or lastly, when you think that you can break the opponent's economy. If you think that you can break your opponent's bank, it might be worth it to force buy. If you do manage to win the round, you'll be able to get the following 2 rounds with relative ease. So you're risking to win 1 difficult round, which if you do win, will ultimately grant you 2 extra rounds. This can happen if you've been losing rounds, but your opponent has always had a maximum of 1 or 2 players left alive. If you're winning with only 2 players left every time, your loss bonus disappears, but your economy will not grow, only decrease. So you won't have any money to fall back on if you finally do lose a round. So, do force buy if it's likely you'll win or can't buy next round regardless. Don't force buy every round, especially if you could just eco and full buy the next round. Now that you've decided you can't full buy and shouldn't force, the question is whether or not you should full eco or half buy. So how do you actually decide that? That's quite simple actually. Whenever you decide to half buy, full eco, or even force buy, you should always look at your loss bonus. Let's say you have a loss bonus of 5, meaning you'll get $3,400 for the next round, and you currently have $2,900. In the next round, you'd like to have an AK-47 with Kevlar helmet and full utility. Then you'd need to have $4,800 in the following round minimum. 4,800 minus 3,400 is 1,400. Therefore, you need to leave $1,400 in your bank so you can easily half buy a Deagle and Kevlar. If you just lost pistol round and have $1,900 in the bank and you're getting $2,400 for the next round, it's much better to just full eco, as otherwise you'll barely have any utility for the round coming up. Alright, so again, do buy a pistol if you have the money for it. Don't put yourself in a position where you can't buy utility in the gun round by overbuying in a half buy. Lastly, let's go over some common economy stakes, starting with not buying as a team. Sometimes when it's better to eco, some teammates will force buy anyways. When this happens, it's best to join them. If you don't, you can't buy the next round after all. It's better to make the wrong decision, but decisively and all together, than making the right decision and your team doing something else. Additionally, what I see happening a lot is people hunting when they shouldn't be. Hunting players saving weapons can be really rewarding. It can ruin your opponent's economy and lead to easier round wins in the future, and most important of all, it's fun. But you shouldn't hunt when you don't have a good economy yourself. If you're not at double digits or close to double digits in money, it's usually not really worth it to go hunt. So don't, else you'll end up getting reset. Well, let's do it one final time. For our do's, do buy with your team, as well as do hunt when you have a great economy, but don't ignore your teammates' buys, and don't hunt when you can. Your own economy is not set up yet. Well guys, that's going to be all for now. Since you watched all the way to the end, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and maybe even hit that notification bell in order to never miss an opportunity to improve. Also remember to check out ProGuides.com if you want to reach your true potential. Over there, we've got some great coaching that can help you improve, as well as the one and only simple master course. With that, I wish you a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Peace out.